Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello! Boom! Look at that. Hello! Wait, come on, Lou. You're supposed to fill in for that other guy.
Kubla free, baby.
Woo! well, welcome everyone.
Pitch myself, man. Oh, man.
Hey, man, woo!
Take it easy. To the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. It's the only
version of Kublis.
Wait a
without
minute. It's
Kubler.
the only.
I don't know. He's probably listening right
It's
now.
one of two that brings the Firehouse kitchen table to you.
To you.
That's right. And I got my man Kenny D in the house.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Always an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. It's always
Gons, how are the guys in the back in the pre-show already?
Oh my God, it's going to be fun. So hopefully we
who can't hear?
Keep them on track. Who can't hear? The phone's moving.
We were on the pre-show. We were on the pre-show for 50 minutes. 5-0.
5-0.
They're there. Like 10 minutes into the thing, I say, everybody go grab a drink, go take a leak, whatever you got to do. Okay. I go get my stuff. I sit down. 2 minutes before the show starts.
I was going to say 30 seconds, but I got to pee.
All three of them get up to go to the bathroom.
Take a week.
I'm like, what's going on here? Don't you have diapers or anything going on? I mean, what's going on here?
God. Look at the phone slipping down. You're going to be looking at the ceiling.
Let's see. Let me show. Greg's good. Greg's good. Okay,
dude, I was when you said that before, Kenny, I was crying, man. He's
funny.
Like, pretty soon he's going to be like this. Greg, he's going
to he'll follow it down.
He keeps putting his hands in front of the camera like this too.
Dude, these guys are motivated about this. The drill.
It's gonna be a good topic tonight, I think.
They've called me a few times this week. I had to
dial them in.
Yeah, keep them on the rails. They were getting, they were a little excited. They're excited, so it's good. It's good.
That's good.
But, yeah, man, it's like they're back teaching the young guys was what shows like this do and what they should be doing the right thing.
We got. So they're excited. I think we got 8 questions. It's going to be more of a. Their techniques. I didn't want to get too deep into building construction and searching and primary search and secondary search. We're going to touch on some stuff, but it's going to be more of what they did.
What they did. So maybe there's something that's unwritten or unscripted kind of a thing. And
yeah, correct.
Those little nuggets that we like to call that we give away to you guys. So
you're
definitely going to have some good takeaways. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, a lot of experience. In those
you got
three guys.
Hell of a bunch of years, many years, shall I say, of knowledge here.
Yep.
I got a little something for you guys.
What do you got?
You see this?
Oh my!
Can you see this? Okay?
Wow!
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Where did you pull that out of?
Holy
shit! This is when I came to see you guys at 288. Probably was when we the second or third year I started coming out there. But anyway, the reason for this picture is because of this.
No.
The AI trend.
The trend going on. I said, let me jump on this bandwagon.
Look at my teeth.
Yeah. Let me see that.
Coobs is actually down in he's in Texas. He's in the Joey D Foundation. They're work down there. So
Coobs looks like Master Blaster.
Yeah. So I go back to what it looked like. That's that shit's
he doesn't even reach the windshield.
Bro, you've seen how tall I am, so I can't
they
say
kind of
nothing.
blew it up a little bit. But yeah, man, that's funny. But anyway,
that's great though. That's pretty cool.
Really quick, I did this one of myself, and then they did the other character.
Look at the hair.
That's for the guys that always talk about the hair club,
Nice.
And then I did it. Then I changed it to that little guy. So, I was having a little fun with me and the guys at work the other day.
Very cool.
But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Love
before we get going for our commercials over here.
All right, what do we got? We got a few commercials quick.
Yeah, we're going to listen to Dragon Eddie. Let's get to it. Here we go.
When an elevator emergency happens, being prepared matters, and the people trapped inside are counting on you. At Dragon Rescue Management, we specialize in elevator emergency management training, built for fire departments, first responders, and safety teams who refuse to leave preparedness to chance. Our elevator industry, experienced and seasoned fire service instructors bring decades of real-world elevator rescue knowledge, teaching cutting-edge proven rescue procedures and passenger release techniques that put safety first every time. And we don't just teach it, we equip you for it with professional patented-grade elevator rescue kits, polling tools, and unexpected movement kits designed for performance under pressure. DRM also provides custom elevator door training aids that allows you to practice the skill set from our training in the comfort and safety of your firehouse. Don't wait for the next stalled occupied elevator call to test your crew. Get trained, get equipped, and be ready. Set yourself up today at dragonrescue.com because readiness isn't optional.
Well, there you go.
Man, he's got a voice of velvet, that guy.
Yeah, man, he's
Mikey.
man.
Mikey.
Yeah. Well, there it goes. I don't know.
Did you see his last interview? He interviewed that reporter, that woman. What's her
I
name?
didn't.
Yeah.
He's got La Famita coming on too.
I
He
don't know
knows how to
who he
reel him in.
knows,
He reels
man.
him in. He reels
Yeah,
him
he
in.
does. He's
gotta-
got like
you gotta-
4,000 episodes.
He's got to start adding a couple of nuggets or what do you call it? A couple of checklists, if you know what I'm saying.
Probably been
But
working
anyway,
on La Famita for a long time, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's
Are we
give
ready?
you a little bit. We will do our new membership. You want to do that? Or not?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Looking to take your love for the fire service to the next level? Then join the Gettin Salty Experience YouTube Premium Membership Club, where the stories burn hotter and the history runs deeper. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, from History with Hagen, where we dive into legendary FDNY fires and the men who fought them, to feature-length documentaries spotlighting the rich and gritty history of the FDNY, told the way only Gettin Salty can. You'll also get early access to special interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and members-only perks designed with our most loyal followers in mind. Joining is easy. Just hit that join button right in our YouTube channel and become part of the Brotherhood. Support the show, celebrate the job, get and stay salty.
Nice. For you guys that aren't over there, get over there. Sign up. Was it
Do it.
$4.95 still? Do it. That new
Do it.
car smell.
Open it
do
up.
it.
Do it.
Open
You know
it
I
up,
love
do
that
it.
new car smell. Do it.
I love it. No,
Do it.
Jack and Coke. Do it. Jack and
yeah,
Coke.
do
Do
it.
it.
Jack
Do
and
it.
Coke.
Do it.
Got to do the head bop. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. Are we ready to do this?
I'm ready. You ready?
We're ready as we're ever going to be.
Good. Oh, I hope the guys in the back. I think they're raring to go. Here we go. Everyone's got a smile on except for Greg. Greg's when he's in there like, let's
Coming
go.
to the stage. First off, Keith Nicollielo. Welcome, my brother.
Yeah, what's up, my man?
Hi guys.
What's
up,
going
Keith?
on?
Man, Kenny.
Next up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you, Kenny.
I love you, brother.
coming
Gonzo
up next, Jeff Miller from Harrisburg. Let's go. What do you say, brother?
How's it looking?
It looks pretty good, actually. Looks pretty good.
Okay, just checking.
Very nice and even.
I think it's longer on the right side than the left side.
Damn it.
Last but not least, my boy, 174, 140, Greg Bruno.
There he is. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome. The ladies just won't stop for you.
What do you say, bro?
What do we got?
Can you hear me,
Uh-oh.
Greg?
Come on, Greg.
Greg?
Uh-oh.
Are you there,
Greg?
Greg?
Woodchuck the gray squirrel. You coming in?
You can't
Go out, come in.
Go out and then come back.
Go out,
Put him in the bathroom and then come back.
go out.
You know what I'm going to make him do? You know, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Oh, and then we're going to sit there and say, kick from the studio, and he'll come back. Anyway, so, all right. So you want to wait for him for the pledge? You want to wrap
Yeah,
it
we'll
out?
wait for him.
He might not know to come. He'd be like, they kicked me out of here.
He's gonna
It's
be like,
over. See, that was quick.
Oh,
No,
it's
it's
over.
missing action.
Over.
Yeah, we
Everything
talked
was
for an hour and a
going
half
so good.
before, so we're good.
We're good. We're going good. When he comes back on, we'll say, all right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you later.
You
he
guys
is.
are
There he is.
Hey.
Well, guys, that was a great show, and
Yeah.
I'll see you guys next
Great,
time.
man. Great. Thanks for having me again, guys.
Can you hear us, Greg? You good?
I do.
Oh,
Thank
all
you.
right. All right.
All right, let's
Excellent.
hit the pledge before anything, boys.
All right, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Yeah. There
Still
we
with
go.
you.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. So I had sent, I think we got 7 or 8 questions. I had sent these guys the questions. Everybody's going to get a chance to answer the question. We're going to stay in order. So let's start. The first question is, how did you
There it is. There's the first question.
take it in? I'm
Take it in.
available.
Here we go.
Pick it up.
I tried to get it before you started speaking.
I tell you, sometimes that it just gives me a little.
That's why
So
I felt
get
the
that
building.
little.
I felt the
there's
guys
something
wanted
in
to
there.
like.
It's in here.
It's still
Yeah.
there. It doesn't
That
go away.
fucking-
But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Run away with that question.
Give me that. You got the other one?
Which one do you want?
The rescue? Come.
Which one do you want? Oh, you want? I got them all, baby. I got the other one too. What do you want? Actually, words. What do you want? This is what it is.
We got 3-2 in a rescue, multiple phone calls. Sounds like a job.
Sounds like a jab.
That's the one I want.
Okay, so we're getting them all. So we get all the blood flowing, so we get it going.
All right,
Guys
you
are going
boys
in for
ready?
fire duty.
There we go.
Ready? 10 ain't available. First question: how did you search a room? Techniques, methods, ideas, etc. Keith is up first.
Okay. My search started when the box came in, and you'd hear the address, and us area was so small you would know where the building was, what type of a building. Then we'd pull up, and I'd have to look at the building. Front fire escape for 3 or more apartments per floor. Nothing shown in the front. I'm going to the rear. No fire escape in the front. I know it's a railroad flat. I don't know where the fire is going to be at. So we'd pop the door, and this is I'm talking about when the officer had one radio. We'd all split up, unless you had a probie. Then a probie stayed with the officer, and the officer and the probie would go one way. I would go the other way, or if you had 3 experienced guys, we'd all split up. Find a wall, pop the door, give it a chance to blow, get down low. That'll tell you what kind of a hallway you got. And you can see the rooms off to the left or the right. And we tried to keep our masks off as much as possible, if you could, because they used to get scratched up a lot. And that would help us see a little bit better. And then we'd all meet, and we'd go to the end of the apartment and make sure that there was nobody in there. We found the fire, and then we'd work our way back, going in the opposite. If I was on this side and the can man was on, then we'd switch so that we wouldn't miss anything.
If you were on the left side, let's say you went left and the officer went right, at the time, I mean, now it probably wouldn't matter so much because everybody has a radio, but how would you get a hold of him? Like if you found a fire like in a bedroom, you would just yell over or bang a tool? Yeah.
We were tenement and brownstone firemen. So the apartments, even a big apartment, you can yell, and he would know, that it's you. That's it.
All right, Jeff, you're up next.
All right. Well, coming from Harrisburg, a little bit of different situation from the FDNY, much smaller city, much smaller staffing, and building construction is completely different. It's nothing but row homes and duplexes, all frame for the most part. So with low staffing was always kind of a struggle to figure out, your objectives and what you're going to do first. So if we're coming in on a tower ladder, back in the day when I first started, it was 2-man on a tower ladder. And I'm sure you guys couldn't imagine operating with such manpower issues as that. So yeah, if it was a, say for instance, a first floor fire, the engine companies would meet up with the truck company on the front porch. Somebody would blow the door in. Back in that day, most of that was a sledgehammer. We didn't really use the irons that much because most of those doors were unfortified. Completely different from you guys, where you guys are so used to heavily fortified doors. So 1 or 2 good swipes with a sledge and you're right in the front door. So you try to get in front of the engine company, or if you couldn't, if the engine was that quick, you would try to get in right behind them or in front of them. Quick do a search of the first floor, the first deck, using the light of the fire to try to do your search. And this was pre thermal imaging cameras. So we always told the engine guys, even I did engine company work for most of my career, was when you get in there, try to get as close to the seat of the fire you can. And before you open that pipe up, give that fire a couple seconds to scan the room. You got great vision when you're up to that seat of the fire, and you can see people. You can see a person laying on the deck. You got to make a quick grab. Then you can also see where the steps are for the second floor. So we always told people to wait a couple seconds before you open that pipe up. So try to keep that visibility as good as you can. So engine company gets in. If it's a first floor fire, they're going to make a quick knock on that. That gives you confidence. Then you can proceed to the second floor and then continue on with your searches, second floor, third floor. Basically, we have 2.5 story or 3 story frame rows there. Just pretty much common like Baltimore, Camden, places like that. So yeah, nothing really high tech, but trying to stay as mobile as you can, lightweight. Don't carry a lot of bullshit gadgets in your pockets. Just trying to stay mobile and trying to stay as low as you can. I mean, Keith, you said about that, and I think there's a little bit now where you see a lot of people trying to stand too much, and you're not really. If you're going to do a good search, you got to get down low. It's just the way it is. But yeah, and I really never was big for carrying a lot of tools with me. I carried a bar and a flashlight, and if I was going room to room, I would kind of leave the flashlight at the door to try to orient myself back to the door after doing a search. But I tried to leave my bar, my Halligan, at the door also. I did not like searching with a tool. To me, there's nothing like putting hands on to find a victim. So that's just.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You left the flashlight at the door?
Yes, I would carry a box light, Survivor light, and that was a good thing. I would leave it at the door, kind of orient myself. And when you know how it is when you're searching, we all carry flashlights. At least you should. But a lot of times when you're doing a search, you guys know that feedback, depending on the smoke condition, sometimes it's not a
blinding. Yeah, blind you.
Yeah. So I would leave it at the door. That way I could do my search, and it kind of gave me some confidence to get back to that door, because that's always, anything you do to make yourself a little bit more confident in your search. It just worked for me, but they always brag up about, or not brag up, but tell you about carrying a tool. But I always carried a tool. You should, but I left my Halligan at the door. I just felt like trying to reach out with a tool. It was just nothing beats reaching out with your bare hands. It just worked for me. So.
All right, Greg, you're up.
Okay. Some of the same things that Keith said about having a plan with your other inside guy to go left and right to try to meet at the far end of wherever room you're trying to search for victims. One of the things I thought was very important is always to check behind the door, especially in the city. These people are trying to make their way to their door. They know the layout of their own apartment, and unfortunately, sometimes they don't make it to the door. So when we open the door, it's very important that you check behind the door. A lot of times when in the city, when you open the door, you may actually even close off a room. You may close off the kitchen or a living room, depending on which way it's laid out. So it's important to get behind the door, but make sure the door doesn't close on you. One of the other things I remember them teaching us was always to try to put your arm feeling for the wall with one hand and try to extend your leg or your arm as far as you can. Because sometimes, when you're searching, when the fire's over, you look and you think you're in a room the size of a football field, but you're in a closet or a bathroom, something very small. And the more surface area you can cover, whether it be somewhat with your tool or your leg and your arms, you may end up not missing somebody. And the other thing that came into play when you're talking about searching, I know you asked about the techniques or things you may come across. A lot of things will determine your search on what you see. If you see a wheelchair outside the door or inside the door, you may have a handicapped person. Or if you happen to get into a bedroom and you come across bunk beds, you know that there's children there, or a high chair, something that may dictate to you the kind of occupants that are in the occupancy. And I think that's important for you to be aware of when you're making your search. It's not, you want to do a quick, thorough search. That's the primary, like we say. But but you don't want to miss somebody. You feel terrible if you tried to do your job and going too quick, you miss something. So if you come across the bunk beds, make sure you check up on the top, and most of all, check behind the door and know that your door doesn't close on you, so you can find your way of egress when you have to get out.
Anything else?
I got a question. Would you feel better with, like, if you had to go off the wall? Would you keeping your foot on the wall or the hand on the wall?
I think I would feel better keeping my hand on the wall and using my foot. And then if I did feel something, then I can go and use both my hands to feel what it may be, you know.
Gotcha.
Kenny, I think that also is a good question you brought up. I think that a lot has to do with your building construction. At least where I was at, I mean, the row homes were typical as far as room dimensions were. So they weren't really big rooms. So a lot of times I would not hesitate to leave that wall because the rooms were so small, a 10 by 10 and 8 by 9. So I didn't get so wound up, you know, with the bigger apartments.
Holding the wall so much.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. I felt pretty confident leaving that wall and knowing that I could get back. But yeah, it's just, you got to know your building construction in your first do. Yeah. It's so important.
I had a few things. So that I had some things that you guys already touched on, but I used to keep a pocket on my pants that just had chocks in it. So
absolutely,
I constantly, that was my, you know, as an officer in the engine, right? First thing, even if it was projects or whatever, chalk it up high, you know, but it seemed like I was always chalking doors and I was losing chalks all the time. I would never buy any of those because I would lose them, right? I mean, it was just inevitable, right? I'm a big fan of them. I'm just saying in the FDNY, they would be lost in a second, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You'd see them at another job.
I was definitely, guys talk about staying low, guys talk about guys walking. I think I felt like I was kind of the middle of the road guy. I would stay, if I went right, I would have my right knee. I was kind of like halfway up. So I was still low enough, but so that my hand was on the wall, you know, searching, even, you know, feeling for windows, obviously reaching out. I was telling, I think, Keith last week, you know, I was a big, put my hand on the bottom by the molding and reach out with my foot. Again, if it was a bigger room, and just, I was never, you know, I would see guys, you know, over the years that, you know, when they came to the squad, whatever, guys would swing their tool looking for stuff. And, you know, I would get them out of that, you know, right away. I just felt like, obviously, you can't be swinging a Halligan looking for somebody. No. You hit everything anyway. You're hitting the coffee table. You hit, you know, it was almost more energy than anything. So I always felt like I was halfway up the wall, kind of. And you can move faster that way, as opposed to on all fours. I don't know if anybody does that, but I was always like on my knee, kind of just, you know, walking through. Listen for the fire, listen for moans, listen for stuff. Sometimes I always felt like we're in such a rush to get in there that, you know, you get in there and all you hear is your breathing, similar to what you were saying with the flashlight. Like if you're in the smoke, it comes back on you. So it's almost like, it's like fog almost, right? When you're driving a car, it's like almost, if you have the high beams on, it's worse than if you just, so I used to just really just for a second, listen to what was actually happening, and I could control my breathing, because if you ran up 3 flights of stairs, you know, you pop the door, you have your mask on, and now you're going right. In about 20 seconds, you're like, holy shit, I'm in here. And, you know, you're probably amped up. So I would try and really control my breathing, because I always felt like if I was relaxed, I would do a better search. Obviously, if you're going into the back of a building, you guys were talking about size up. One of the things, you know, especially you guys were in Harlem, you know, I'm sure it's in Harrisburg as well, in Brooklyn and Queens. You know, you might have 3-4 buildings in a row, and then they knock down 2 of them, and now there's no window on that whole side, right? So if you go in and start your search on the right side where there's no window on that because there used to be a building there ain't no way out that way. You know what I'm saying? So I used to keep that in mind. If I used to walk up to the building, I keep a lookout, you know, where ladders were going up, or, you know, I always felt like if I was more relaxed, if I was searching, I don't know, you know, nowadays I don't, you know, I always took glass as I went, you know what I mean? So I would take the glass, look out the window, so see where the next window was, see if there was fire venting out, see where the guy was with the ladder, be like, hey, bro, put that ladder right here. And then from that point on, I know where I'm going back. If something happens, I don't have to go all the way back to the front of the building. I can come back, 10 feet and get out this window or yell down to somebody. So I always felt like that was a big size up for me, is how many, where the windows were, not so much in the front with the fire escape, but on the sides of the buildings, if it was a standalone building. Because if you're on the right side and you get jammed up, you could be searching all day. You ain't going to find no windows there, obviously. So,
Right.
Yes, Lou.
do you have good water, right? If you're searching around, obviously floor above is more important, but if you're on hydrant water and you're in the back and you pass the fire to search the bedrooms and you don't hear that you're on hydrant, you got to keep that in the back of your head, so that was something else.
We'll get you in a
Lou.
second.
Yeah.
A thing that really affected our search too was building renovation. Years
Without a
ago,
doubt.
tenement was a tenement. And the same thing with a brownstone. Brownstone had an open interior stairway, they had pocket doors, and you sort of got used to that layout. You sort of had that in your mind if you were going into a new law or an old law tenement. And the rooms and the apartments would be all lined up basically in the same way. Now, when they started renovating these vacant buildings and even partially occupied buildings, a brownstone ain't a brownstone anymore. You open a parlor floor door, there used to be that was your hallway, and you open stairway. Now you open up the door and there's two doors. This door takes you up to the upper floors. This door takes you to the parlor floor and the basement.
Yeah, the brownstones had a lot of over the years. They have, there's a lot of renovations.
Renovate them any way they want. So you don't know what type of a layout you got until you get into that particular apartment.
There was another thing I had here. I just wanted to, it seems obvious, but as an officer, I would have guys search, search was a big thing for me. I used to really practice search a lot. So I got kind of good at following, watching guys drill with it. The guys in the squad and even in 103, I never let another guy watch. If two guys were coming into search, they went on air, blacked out always. And nobody ever, the other guys in the company never watched the other guys searching, right? After those guys were done, I would bring them up, everybody would come up and I would have a drill on what they did at that, at the drill that time. So I never let anybody else search, watch other people search. I just felt like, I don't know, it was, if the guy especially came to the company and he was just starting out, I didn't want to have guys think about him in a certain way, because he's just learning right now, you know what I mean? Or if a guy's been in the company for 20 years and he doesn't really go through the motions that much anymore, and now somebody's watching him search, you know what I mean? It could be a reverse effect, where he might lose a little bit, you know what I mean? So I always felt like I was going to be the deciding factor. And believe it or not, I would find guys, I had it written down, guys would go in, we would have vacants, or you said buildings under construction. We lost Keith. Buildings under construction.
Yeah.
And I would just stop. The guys would be working, and I would, grab the guy and say, "Hey, listen, you mind if we do a quick drill in here?" And guys would go in on the right hand, right? They would have blacked out face pieces, vacant. They'd be on the right wall, and then they would come around a turn, let's say, and here's another door, and they would get on the left wall, in that room, so. After they did that, I would be like, all right, I got him, because I'm going to let him get to the back of that room. And then I would start yelling, it's lighting up. You got 10 seconds. And I would count back 10, 9. And now when you're under pressure, right, you could come out, you would have came right around. Maybe you would have never thought, but now you're all the way in the back of this room. You got to come back on the left side. Now you got to switch off to the other side because you switched hands. And then it was a good learning point, because searching could be somewhat easy if you're not under pressure. As soon as there's pressure, you got to make quick decisions, and you got to remember the things that you did. You know what I mean? So that was always something that I felt I would look for when guys were and if I saw guys that didn't do that, most guys didn't do that, but occasionally if a guy hadn't, if he came from wherever, he came from an engine or whatever, so.
Oh,
What is
Lou
going
dropped.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Why Lou's missing in action and Keith's missing in action.
So,
Well, anyway,
Stop.
while those guys are doing their thing, I was going to touch on or ask you guys to talk a little bit about.
Is he coming back?
It looks like Keith to touch on a little bit of. We're
I'm
talking
back
a lot.
home.
There they go.
There you are. We're talking a lot about basics, or with some whatnot, incorporating ticks in FDNY or whatnot.
Have no
We're
sound.
fortunate here. Greg, you don't. Greg's gonna have to go back out. I think. You there, Greg? Can you hear?
I don't think Ray can hear us.
All right, I'm gonna
Hey,
kick him.
Gonzo.
I hear you
Keith's
now.
calling me.
Oh, there we go.
Keith goes out. He calls me, and my whole service goes out.
Oh,
Hey, Gonzo, how do I get to the full screen?
you got to hover on the fire on the bottom right corner.
Oh, yeah.
The box will come up and just click on the box.
I am a technical motherfucker.
You are, homie. You are.
All right. So anyway,
All right,
what I was gonna
Keith, you either got back on or you just ordered some Metamucil. I don't know what you got. So.
Yeah.
I took an enema.
I was just touching on a little bit of incorporating the tick. Now, FDNY.
Oh, we got
ticks per
that.
rig.
We got that. That's the next question coming up.
Okay, because I was going to
That's
talk about
down
how
the
many
road.
you actually carry on your rig.
5.
Yeah. So we actually did questions 2 already, which was we touched on a lot of it. So it was your first due inside team at the door of the fire floor, step by step. After the door was popped, what were some of the things that you did as you searched? So
Me.
we kind of touched on that for the most part.
Okay, but what about question number 2? What are some things that impact the search?
All right, let's touch on that. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right,
let's do
for
it.
me, it was energy windows and Collier's mansion conditions.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Those are the 2 most important things that I think.
Yeah. In today's terms, for all you new firemen, it's heavy clutter conditions.
Mhm.
Hoarding.
Hoarding.
But Collier's mansion, yeah, for sure.
Don't throw anything out.
It's rough air.
Yeah.
As far as it, I don't know if you want me to go.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
We're on question 2. To some of the things that can impact your search, I always felt that when you're coming across like a radiator, you happen to be going to and it should give you a telltale sign that you're at the rear wall, because that's where your windows and your radiators would mostly be. So in the event that you come across that and you needed to either vent or to possibly get yourself out of a bad situation or take the glass, you would give you a better perspective as to where you were in the apartment. That was one of the things. The other thing to impact it, when you first get in there, like Louis was saying before, I always felt that if you just stop for a second, you can almost feel sometimes where the heat's coming from. If it's in the front and you happen to go in, if you stop for a second, you feel it to your right, you at least can give the engine a heads up or the engine officer in which direction the heat's coming from, so they can try to stretch a line to the fire. And then you can maybe let them know you're going to the left or the room behind the door that you don't want to forget, and complete your search.
Jeff, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, you hit on some of that stuff, but I think a good portion of my career with working in such a distressed city is most of my houses were vacants in horrible conditions, holes in the floors, sometimes not even any steps. They would pull the treads off the stringers because they were easily used for lighting fires to try to stay warm. So I think, my God, my first 10 years in the fire service, most of my majority of the fires were in vacant buildings. So that was incredibly difficult to do searches in those buildings. And quite obviously they were vacants, but back in the day, we had multiple rescues out of those vacant buildings. So yeah, people get all wound up about size up. Oh, we pulled up and we saw cars in the driveway, and there's people with, when you're working in a place that's horribly distressed, there's people in those buildings 24/7, whether they're occupied or a vacant. So you always have to keep that in mind, that there's really no such thing as a vacant building. But yeah, just trying to do searches in places that, you know, these crackheads are in there and they're shitting on the floor. The needle use now for drugs, I think we're probably even worse than it was back in the 70s.
I think you're right.
I mean, my God, these guys I'm surrounded by my brothers right now. They'll tell you, you'll count 100 freaking needles in a room. Do you really want to crawl through that? I mean, yeah, shit, piss, puke, needles. You know, it's got to be pretty freaking nasty for any of us to get down on the deck and crawl through that shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
It's got to be absolutely horrible conditions for us to get down low. But yeah, it's something you got to think about, man. It's just the drug use and the needle thing. It's just, you know, you heard about that stuff in, you know, in especially your guys' city in the 70s. It's come back full circle. So
Jeff, what is the percentage of your buildings that you would say are still vacant in Harrisburg?
It's not as bad. Like I said, I was there in the early 80s. It was a ton of vacants. I think we had over 2,000 vacants in that small city. It might have been even more than that, but we burned them all down. So,
nice.
So we haven't burned down, the city tore down. So it's not as bad as it was. But I mean, some of you guys are familiar. You've been through that. It's still pretty impressive. But yeah, so it just dictates, you know, your searches between an occupied or a vacant building. It's a whole different world. So, I mean, I could remember my first couple fires in there, trying to go up the steps, and there was you had to shimmy up the
the angle iron or whatever.
There was no treads. It's like, what am I doing here? It was definitely an eye opener. It was like you had to be Spider-Man.
I would say like New York. I mean, even in the shittiest areas, there's some vacants, but it's built up. I mean, there's really no vacants. I mean, you could drive around.
Hear Louis.
Renovating a lot of them.
Yeah.
Greg can't hear you again.
Fucking guys, fucking classic.
Yeah.
I hear everybody but Louis.
You know,
it's better off probably.
I'm a career engine guy.
I don't want to hear him anyway.
I'm a career engine guy for the most part. I only caught a couple jobs in the truck, but one of the things that coming out of the academy, the difference in speed that the guys do it in real time was incredible. Like in the academy, you kind of, you know, you're doing your thing, whatever, and you think you're doing it fast until you catch a real job and you're doing it with guys with like Keith and guys with experience. They were flying through it and trying to keep up with them and doing it right. So that's just something that I thought of, that I didn't realize how fast you got to do it and how fast the guys were doing it, you know?
But, and also, you know, you're talking about searches, the confidence level. Nothing gives you more confidence about doing a search when you hear that engine company stretching that line and you know they're in place and they're putting water on that fire. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
When you know they're making that fire attack, then that gives you that confidence. And you know your ears aren't burning anymore, your shoulders aren't burning, conditions are getting better. So you can kind of slow that down. But that is a super big confidence thing when that engine company is doing their freaking job and putting that. I mean, that is definitely a game changer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, Harlem is now probably 99% occupied.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's and any vacant building is so sealed up, and there's no reason for anybody to go into vacant anymore. So we hardly get any vacant building fires, although they do happen, but they're rare. Now, FDNY, our procedure for a vacant building fire was half speed. We still searched, but everything was half speed. And, you know, the more fires you went into in vacants, I mean, some of them were in really bad shape. I mean, I think Kenny, we used to put up a portable ladder between floors to get to the floor above. Yeah. Now, you can do that anymore now, you know. It would be like considered unsafe, but there was always people in those buildings that had to be removed, just like the skull said. Yep. So you had to remove them. It wasn't a rescue. They couldn't get out, you know. But everything was done half speed, You sort of knew, don't step on a door that's laying down because there could be a hole underneath it. Try to stay near the side wall when you're searching. Use your tool, and just be very careful.
Well, how many of you guys have, and this is going to be a quite obvious question, how many times have you gotten in a room and you couldn't get out? How many
The
times?
same way I came in?
Yeah. How many
It's
times has that happened in your career?
It's happened. I don't know, put a number on it, but
It's
it happens.
embarrassing, ain't it?
Well, like I said to you earlier, sometimes it's you think you're in a tremendous room and you're working really hard, and when it's all over and you see what you were crawling through, it's like, how did I not do this 15 times? I was in the smallest room. I thought I was in a room that never ended.
Yeah.
So,
like swimming in the ocean.
mhm.
Yeah.
The way you are.
That happens more times than you think. And when you finally get yourself out of that room and you go back later on, like, oh my God, I was trapped not trapped, but I couldn't get out of that room.
I was a little disorientated in something so small. Right.
Yeah, I sat in the corner already at Fires and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is it. You're thinking about your loved ones and, you people like, I should have
The newspaper article. I remember.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I should have
Fireman
told this
dies in
person or
massive
my
blade.
mom I loved them. And you're sitting there like, this is it. I'm dying. And then, the engine company does their job. Things clear out. And then you come out and then you're embarrassed. You don't even tell anyone. Like, oh my God, I was trapped in this 10 by 10 freaking room and couldn't get the hell out of there. But I think that happens. I think it happens more times than you think, but it can happen to anybody.
Well,
But
that's why I think it's important. Like I always felt, we're going to get to number 3 now, which is pretty much where that comes from. So I'll read that and then we'll kind of segue into that. You are the OVM. I don't know what you guys have in Harrisburg, but you're the outside guy in the rear at the window on the floor above. Step by step, after you take the window, what are some of the things that you do as you started your search? So first up is Greg. Oh, he can't hear me?
Oh,
Is he talking to me?
Greg,
Does
can you
everybody
hear
hear him? I don't hear him. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So,
want to relay what he said to me?
Yeah.
OVM,
So you're the,
Greg, OVM, your
you're
duties.
the OV.
Okay, the third question. Okay.
Yeah, third question. You're the OV
The third
in the rear.
question. Yeah, go ahead.
Word civils.
Some of the things that I thought about as the OV position in the FDNY, obviously, is the main thing. First of all, before you get up to do your search, you want to give your inside team and your boss the best scenario of the conditions. If you see smoke, you say smoke. If you don't say fire, if you see smoke, make sure you're giving the pertinent information. Maybe if you have bars on the window, that's going to change their whole outlook on, I better not take this to vent this because if something lights up, I have no way out because he didn't get the bars off the windows. That transmission could also be given to the incident commander, so maybe he can get another truck company to that fire to work on bars just for bar problems. About making a door opening for the guys inside or for you, because the first thing I would like to do is try to get in and reach down right near the window to make sure there's no victim at the window. Same scenario as the doorway, worrying about the person not making it out of their own occupancy and falling short. Once I would get in the room, the best thing to do would try to get to, for instance, a bedroom, shut the door. If the fire's in the hallway or something like that, it's going to buy you a little bit of time to do a pretty thorough search of that room, even though it's a primary search. You want to check under the bed, check on the bed, check in the closets, especially if there's children in that room. Children get afraid, they hide in a bureau drawer, in a closet. Excuse me. One thing I thought of, I remember years ago when I first started, the fire department used to give out or have these, Louis, even though I can't hear you, do you remember the tot finders that would be on the windows? A lot of times people would put the stickers to let the fireman know I have a child in that room.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I thought was important, that if you saw that, to let them know, or for yourself to make it a little extra push in that room because there might be a child. Also when I started the FDNY has the SIDS information. I think it's very important, even for your own family or friends. We had friends of ours who had a severely handicapped child. They lived in the Bronx. And I remember when I learned about the SIDS cards and the information that it would give the officer and the inside team of that first due company, it was important that you call that first due company and say, hey, give them my information. These are the people's names. This is their address. Severely handicapped child, second floor on the fourth side of the building. Now, nowadays, with all this information you get right on the text screen in the rig, that would be a home run for an OV or an inside team to know directly. It could be an elderly person, a handicapped person, children. All this information, you can help the people that you care about by giving that information to the fire department to put on these SIDS cards. That was something I thought that was extra. But that would be my biggest thing as far as the OV would be to give the information, make that search, have a way out for yourself, and complete your job. Excuse me.
Keith, you're up.
To me, the OV was the most challenging position in a truck because you had to make decisions on that rear fire escape by yourself, by just feeling the window, looking at the window, and what you hear in the chatter on the handy-talkie. For the most part, if we were first due and it was a job, that window was being taken, the whole thing. We never left a sash in. We made a window a door. That's what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing like what Greg said, drop in a room. And if it was really that bad, I would leave my hook on the windowsill and extend it out, lay it into the room, and I would search off that, but try to get to the door first to close the door if possible, and do a search in that room, and then open that door and peek out and see what's going on. But the objective was to always meet the inside team. That was the OV's job. That's the two-team offensive coming either way.
Yeah.
The OV is it's really simple. You are coming in opposite the hose line.
Very dangerous position.
Right. That's what the OV does. You're coming in opposite the hose line. So,
Keith, I'm sorry. Keith, one thing I was thinking about, just to add to what you're saying, you can add so much to that inside team search, even from an outside position. As a chauffeur, as an OV, going up the aerial as the roof guy, you could be yelling down to these occupants in the street, even if they're having a language barrier. If it's a Spanish neighborhood and someone's got to speak some type of English, and you could yell out to them and say, hey, how many people live in this dwelling? Are there any kids in here? Scream at them, get them to say something to give the information to the boss. Hey, OV to the officer, they say there's 2 kids live in the back bedroom. Now this guy's going to split his team and at least make that attempt for those kids that they know, instead of giving them 50-50 chance. You're going to give them a better chance because this guy's beelining it for it. Yeah. Even as a chauffeur, how many people live in this place? Hey, anybody here understand English? What's going on? How many people are in there? Anybody live on the upper floor? Just draw out as much information as possible to get it back to the people that are on your team.
They do want to help. Not always the best way, but they do want to help.
But Kenny, what happened up by us? If you ask the people in the hallway what's going on,
it's a parakeet.
Get in there, motherfucker. That's all they said to us. Get in there, motherfucker.
Yeah, but
Just go do your fucking job.
But Keith, there's a big difference where somebody's saying, yeah, there's 10 kids on the top floor, and there's a mother clutching at you, screaming at a baby's inside. There is a very big difference.
Yes,
well, you know if the guy's bullshitting you or not.
Yes.
So good points there. Leaving the hook at the door, making the window a door, searching to the door, get the door closed, doing a quick search of the room, meeting the inside team, fucking 3-prong attack, boom. Right?
That's what he said. Just like that. Boom.
Just like that.
That's how some bosses in 30 Truck, that's how some bosses years ago would rate the OV. If the OV met the inside team like around halfway in that flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't fake that. You can't.
No.
There are places you could fake and hide, but you can't fake that because, like you said, you're by yourself, and they're expecting you to bump into them halfway down. Whether you're on the floor. I mean, this was for the floor above, but you guys are making all good points for the fire floor too. as long as you're, you know, making a move, doing something. You know what I mean? Like you said, you peek out the door, you go down the hall, try and get into the next room, do the same thing, close the door again, and vice versa. But,
So
Yes, but the only thing that impacted that OV, I'm sorry, Greg. The only
I
thing that
can't hear
impacted that OV
I'm
getting
gonna
into
knock you out and
position
come back in.
was in the rear, no drop ladder,
ooh, yeah.
right? Or having to climb over a
How often did that
7-foot
happen?
years ago,
A lot?
in the vacants, a lot, because anything that they could use to make money, that's scrap iron.
No
And what does a
shit.
drop ladder weigh? 80, 100 pounds.
I don't think I ever heard that. I don't think I ever heard
How's
that much.
Oh, absolutely. And
Thank
then,
you.
getting over an 8-foot wall, a cement cinder block wall that separates properties.
That was getting back to what Greg said before too. It came into my head. Like if you're going to the rear and you're taking the ladder, yelling to somebody in the building, can I get this? Can I get to the rear from here? Right. That was something I remember hearing a lot from guys, because again, you could get jammed up on the building and going down, and you could go get to the rear. That was a big thing, because if all the buildings were lining the whole street, what's the easiest way to get back there? If somebody could tell you which way to go, that was a big help.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How many times do you guys take the fucking in a tenement? You take the interior first floor lobby, maybe go out right in an apartment right in the rear and go out that way, or how we have 135 Street's got a big fucking row of tenements. Would it be? Can you just go right in first floor in the lobby, hit somebody's apartment, and go right out the back window?
Kenny, that building, those string of buildings you're talking about, that's an OV's delight.
Yeah.
Because when you went down from the sidewalk, down those stairs, and into the back, you could look left and right and see Lenox and 7th Avenue.
Yeah, that's nice.
So, and they kept it clean. It was an OV's delight.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff is up for that commercial. For that question. For that commercial. For that.
The
question.
OVM?
Yes.
Okay. Due to our building construction and our manpower constraints, our
You don't have an OVM.
He's like, what the fuck is an OVM?
What
They have an O.
OVM.
They have an O.
What is that Chinese language you're talking?
So yeah, our chauffeurs, whether you're on the tower ladder or the tiller, that was their job, to get to the roof, pop the roof, and then take a 6-foot hook. Coordinated ventilation. That's the game plan. But he would take out the windows on the upper floors accordingly to work in conjunction with the engine company. So yeah, the rest of our truck guys who was ever on the truck, we'd be in there trying to knock out searches. So next question.
Next question. I'm still trying to figure out what the fucking OVM is.
Jeff.
All right. What's the next question? Next question is number 4. What were some of your thoughts about search techniques in a 1-story taxpayer fire?
Next question.
First.
What the fuck is a taxpayer?
Next question.
All right, let's see.
Let's get rid of that one.
Basically, most of our taxpayer fires started at night.
Yeah.
And the ones that got out of control were the ones that were, because the roll down gates were down, and there wasn't too many people that could see the smoke, whatever. In the daytime, the fires were small, so you went in, you could see everything. The lights were still on, and the engine would come in and give it a douche, and the fire would be out. But the nighttime taxpayers, to me, was a tough search, because even though you're going one way, you can have aisles. You can have open stairwells. You can have bunking and go behind a refrigerator or a deli counter or whatever. And it was tough to use the search rope in the taxpayer for us. Now, we didn't have that. The Bronx was the taxpayer borough. Those guys were super at the taxpayer fires. But it was always a tough search, and our ears were always open for the roof man. when that roof man said that there was heavy equipment on that roof and he had a good job at night in the Taxpayer, then our boss would say, okay, we're going to back out a little bit, whatever, and then let the engine hit it and see what happens. But they were a little scary, those Taxpayer fires at night.
Who's up next? Greg?
I think I am. Yeah. Taxpayer, I had a lot of them in Brooklyn and Queens, and, they're large and small. But I think on a large Taxpayer, I think the biggest thing you can take from it is a search rope is a must. I feel that it's a must. The smaller Taxpayers, not so deep. Maybe, of course, you can't stretch it all out. But, in any Taxpayer, you're going to have the possibility, like Keith said, of getting hung up on something. My first area where I worked, there was a lot of auto repair shops, and what do? At nighttime, to get the most amount of cars in there, they put the car goes up on a lift, another car goes under it. You have a lot of obstacles, grease, a lot of things you could slip and slide on. So Taxpayer fires are very difficult, and I really believe that those are the things that you have to worry about. The cluttered condition, getting hooked up. Keith brought up a good point with the roof man. Yes, it was great to know if there were any equipment up there, but it was also very good for the search team, for the roof guy to give you the layout of the roof, because sometimes it was an L shape. It could be 50 feet back, and it's an L shape to the 2 side, or an L shape to the 4 side, or a mezzanine, or something like that, where it changed levels. And that would give the inside team a lot, especially with a search rope, feeling the knots on the rope, to know how far in you are. And if he's telling you 50 feet to the left, you can direct your team to go to the left to see if there's anybody in there. Now, nighttime, like Keith said, most of the Taxpayer fires, I think, do happen at night because people aren't around to call them in. It's an industrial area usually. And when that happens, you have to really take a step back, because you don't want to get yourself jammed up or hurt when the chance of there being victims in there is so much less. Not that you have to forget about your search. Your search still has to be done. That's mandatory. But the aggressiveness of what you're doing, as far as something in the daytime where the business would be open. The business will be open. You don't know if there's customers in there as well as workers. At nighttime, your chances are there's nobody in there unless there's somebody living there that shouldn't be there. And that's the one guy you have to go and try to complete your search for.
Jeff?
Keith, I'm sorry, Jeff. Keith, didn't we have a Taxpayer or two that had a little loft in the back where a guy would stay overnight? Like a little room, like built
Mezzanine.
above?
Yeah.
Like a little mezzanine.
Mezzanine.
When
An office.
if we had a Taxpayer at night and it was a Chinese restaurant, it was guaranteed to be people locked in that store at night. They lived in the store. They put the roll downs were down. They were actually locked in to try to prevent theft.
Yes.
So we had a couple of Taxpayer fires where
I had one of those.
cut the roll downs, push it up, and there's 2 people standing there.
People run out.
Yeah, they were in there. They had beds, bunk beds in the back. So when we did BI, we checked the back of a Chinese restaurant. They usually say, "Oh, we're just resting there." Yeah, you're resting.
Yeah.
What's this BI you speak of?
I don't know. Why'd I say that?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this is your guys. This is your bread and butter. But the limited amount of Taxpayer fires that I had during my career, and I was on the pipe. I was an engine company guy. So, but yeah, next question.
Man after my own heart.
I got a few things.
Oh,
So
Lou.
yeah,
Can I tell you a story about the search rope?
sure. Well, let me go through this quick, and then because I have a feeling that search rope's going to be a while. Give me a second.
Well, the story, it's a quick story.
What is the search rope?
I'm going to forget it if you don't let me do it.
Go ahead.
All right. First, when the search ropes came out, I forget what year.
All right, Keith, you're way too long already.
We get relocated to 29 Truck in the Bronx, right? They got a multiple going over there. So we get to 29 Truck. It's a Saturday night, summertime. Boom. We get a phone alarm for a fire in the Sabrett hot dog factory. So we come out of quarters, make a right, and we're heading on 138th Street towards the river. We get there, smoke's coming out of the fucking building. Factory. Pop the door. First Lieutenant Marty Coyne, he's got the search rope. So he ties it off and he's got it on his shoulder. Doesn't put it over his head. It's on his shoulder. And we go in and we find this fire. It's a big motor burning. Wasn't really the building wasn't involved, but it did create a lot of smoke, right? So we're in there, we're looking and we're waiting for the engine. All of a sudden, the fucking thing gets ripped off of his shoulder and it's gone. So we said, what the fuck? Whatever. It came out. He tied it on the bumper of a car. and the worker said that was in there. He must have got his car and fucking pulled off right down 138th Street.
Wow.
Oh God.
So
They do say to put it in a clear area. They say to tie it off in a clear area outside.
That's a fucking classic.
That
car was in his mother's name.
It's a true story. Yep.
It's a wedding gift. I just got married.
Yeah.
It's in my mother's name.
Mother's name.
You gotta get a
Coupe. I love that car.
I love that car. All right, go ahead. We're getting off track.
Yeah, so what? We're having fun.
So the first thing, my biggest pet peeve, showing up to a taxpayer job, was the roll down was up or was cut like whatever, and there was this huge diving board in front of the door, whatever, would just drive me absolutely. Instead of pulling the slats and getting it out of the way, they'd have this huge thing in the middle. So I always felt like first thing is you gotta get all that crap out of the way. What's the next thing they do after they take the roll down gate? There's a metal one, like the newer storefronts has, just the metal frame. And so they take the glass of the metal door and the bar is in the way. And now I see the line going under the bar into the job, right?
Oh my
So what
God.
happens, what happens when everything goes in the toilet and everybody's trying to run out and the bar is still it takes 2 seconds. You go under the bar and you smash it back that way. You know what I mean? It takes less than 2 seconds. But that was one thing that always used to, I don't care if you take the door or not, just get the bar out of the way in case you got to get out of there.
Out of the way, just like you said. Make a
Two,
window and same thing.
I've had a few, I know, again, we were talking about, you don't know where the fire is. If it's a little clear when you get in there, make sure you poke a hole. If you can poke a hole, and a lot of times they're higher, but get a hole as soon as you can get in there because you don't want to be too deep. I've had a couple of those where everybody's deep, and then before you know it, conditions get worse, and you don't have a search line in place because everything was clear when you first walked in there. Now guys start pulling some ceilings, 10-foot hooks, all that crap. So same thing in anything, if you feel like it's in the ceiling, poke a hole as soon as you get in there. That was one of the things that I had on that.
We lost Nick again.
Oh, all right.
Keep going.
These fucking old timers are fucking hilarious. You can't hear me. Who's this? Who's that?
Greg,
The other
can you
thing-
again?
Greg, you can hear? Greg's good right now. Oh, about
God.
Fungoria. What's he when Keith left?
See what happens when Coobs isn't here? Shit goes to fucking hell.
No, come on now. You're gonna give he's over there right now. He's like, yeah, you know it.
He's like, that's my boy Kenny. Yeah.
He's looking out for me. So anyway, we have and then there was one.
the guy who hasn't answered 3 questions.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Hey,
I hear you now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He got bumped off, and I didn't hear nobody.
I'm back.
Hey, there you go. All right.
Hi, Poppy.
So I don't even know anymore if you're allowed to take glass in a taxpayer, right? That was one thing. Guys would keep it in as soon as you had the line in place. We used to take the glass pretty much. I mean, guys took the glass right away. I watch countless jobs nowadays where guys are operating and nobody's taking the glass is still intact, all the time.
Really?
Like, I don't know what the procedure is anymore, but I mean, it always felt better to take the glass. I don't know. Just always, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you have positive,
And then they took the
Louis,
line.
as long as they
of
have
course,
positive
but
water, as long as they're on
They
hydrant,
don't take
have
the glass
water,
anymore. Nobody takes
you got to
any
take the glass.
I don't
You got
know.
to.
The
Another thing that was a big thing was knocking over stock. Like, guys go into these things and they get to the back and then they're making their way and we're firemen, right? We're Neanderthal, we're cavemen. They start knocking stuff over. They're pulling, lights come flying down as they're pulling ceilings. The tin comes down and it starts knocking over the stock. And now you can't even, it could be piled up a foot or two in the middle of the aisle where you're trying to get the hell out of there. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but trying not to knock over as much of that crap, because I remember that was a big thing. You know, that was something where we were trying to get out, and there was a lot of shit in the way. So that sticks out in my mind. And then just like I think somebody said, the maze, like when you got aisle after aisle after aisle in some of these things, you know, the 99-cent store or any of that crap, you know, they all start looking the same when it gets shitty. You know what I mean? So keep an eye on that. That's all I got.
The let me touch on that really quick if I can. The you talk about these large, we down here in South Florida, it's large area searches. For you guys touched on it before with search ropes. I think we lost whatnot. Now the large area searches is where we use search ropes. Is that something similar to what you guys incorporating in your searches? If
Yes.
you can search apart aisles,
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes, right, Louis, we have to tie them together if it's that deep.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll
I'm
get
telling you right now, thank God I haven't had too many of those. I think I was talking to Keith about this. Like, I've seen search ropes deployed at stuff, and it created more havoc than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it really.
tangled up. Yeah.
If it, ain't done if it ain't done properly, it's just going to be a fucking mess.
It's a fucking bird's nest.
Right. So the thing is, we're going to get to that now, but the thermal camera changed that, right? That the thermal camera helped the search rope like to be deployed better, right? Because if you're operating water and you're tying stuff off and it's hanging and it's looping and it's in the, you know, it's in the water, it's not taut, you can't even follow it anyway. So what the hell, you know, on the way out, how the hell would you get out of there? You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be done really well, like you said. So I think that the camera has changed that so that the person who has it, generally the boss or whoever, he's holding it tight to wherever he's going in, and then he could tie off as he wants, and then guys clip onto that and go off of that. I mean, but I've never seen, I don't want to be doing that unless we're looking for a fireman. Like that's, I mean, it's generally not good when that's going down. Like you have to be looking for somebody. You know what I mean? Like we're not doing that just to, they pull everybody out for anything anyway. So now we're going to start clipping into shit and going in 500 feet. Like, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
No, even if you think about that, what's the viable outcome?
Yeah, right. What are you doing?
That's not a time. It's just not efficient. You're not going to bring anybody out of there alive. Think about it.
That's the only time I could see that possibly being. I mean, we practiced it all the time in the squad. We practiced it all the time. Yeah, it was always. If I was doing that,
deploy that system.
Yeah, it's not good.
What's the chances of anybody coming out of that alive?
Yeah, and you could be adding to people. You know what I mean? If that's something that you don't. We practiced it, but it's not like your bread and butter that you're doing every day or whatever. Firefighter removal or something like that. But I mean, you got to do it for the one chance that if you had to do it, but I wouldn't be comfortable doing it. I'll tell you that. Putting 3 search ropes together or some shit like that.
I don't know if we've ever been at a job. I don't know if I've ever been at a job where they deployed 3 search ropes on a 2 off of one or 1 off of one. I've seen them at single search ropes, but not 2 or 3 off of one fucking search.
Well, again, we don't have those big areas.
You're probably 20 minutes into the incident when you're doing
it,
right?
Does
that make sense? Am I lying?
No.
I always took a line in, so I always had that line. That
was your line. That was your search rope.
That was my search rope.
Hey, Kenny, bumps to the pumps, right? Bumps to the pumps.
Yeah.
Smooth,
I knew behind me, just that went back to mothership, man, that fucking line. So.
All right, so this leads us right into, Jeff's going to be up first. Did you like searching with the thermal camera?
Yeah, absolutely. And being an old head, and Kenny he will back me up on this. My first introduction to thermal imaging cameras was in the Navy. Correct?
Yeah,
Remember
that's right.
The big. I think they were made in England. I think we had them on ship. They were a big, huge camera. The battery pack you wore on your chest.
Yeah, that's right. You put it on your chest. That's right.
I think the Brits might have been the first people to do that as far as a firefighting style thermal imaging camera. I had that in the Navy, and we used it in live fire training in the Navy, and some of our live fire training we had in in the Navy was pretty damn awesome. No, that's
The
not
Carnes
it.
Iris,
That's a
man. You guys remember
viewfinder.
this? That's
What the
Carnes
hell
Iris.
is that?
That's a
the
fucking
first-
viewfinder.
That is we had that in my department years ago when I first got here 30 years ago. We had this.
Yeah, that's not what
The
I
Carnes
wanted.
Iris, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, what you talking
Come
about?
on.
Well, so anyhow, yeah, I used that in my 4 years in naval firefighting. And it was a great device. Never did any practical firefighting with it other than electrical fires. It was great. We had a ton of electrical fires on my ship, and it was easy, to bring out the tick, bam, there it is in a cableway fire. So that being said, thermal imaging really in my area did not really get big until I would say the late 90s, early 2000s. The cameras were I mean, wouldn't say they were very bulky, but it was still something that's bouncing off of you.
Yeah, it's brick.
And being an old head, it took me a long time to get it through my thick head to, hey, dummy, grab the tick and take it in with you while doing your searches. And even just before I retired, I was still messing up. Like, damn it, why didn't I bring that tick in with me? But yeah, what a great device. They're making them smaller. They're lighter weight now.
That's the key.
Yes. I mean, you're already carrying a bar. You're already weighted down with all this other bullshit. Half of the stuff you don't really need. But yeah, a tick is, to me, is a pretty critical tool. I know they're making personal. I don't even know if that's a word. They're really small now.
Guys are buying their own. I know that.
Yes. And they're very affordable. I think they're less than $1,000. So each guy on your crew now can carry a thermal imager with you. The officer typically carries the bigger tick with them. So yeah, it's a great tool. There's some people going like, you shouldn't carry that in. It's going to fail. I disagree with that. I think you just have to use the tools at your disposal. And I keep telling these kids, I'll be dead and gone, but it's coming when these guys are going to come into these buildings and their mask, their SCBA mask, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. They're going to have thermal imaging right like
you're in Disney World or something, right?
Yes.
They do have them already. They do have a little screen in the heads-up display on an SCBA. They do have them.
Well, yeah, and we had that with some of this. Before I retired, we had the Scott mask that had like a little, and I had it with mine because they gave it to the officers. I never paid attention to it, but yeah, there's going to come a day, and it's going to be really soon, that firemen are going to go right into a burning building and have that thermal imaging right in front. I mean, it's going to be really cool technology, but yeah. So if you have it, use it. It's getting more and more affordable. But yeah, there was a lot of times I would get off the rig. I'm like, you dumbass, grab the tick. And not just from being an old guy. But yep. So.
All right, Greg, you're up.
Yeah, I think thermal imaging camera is a unbelievable device. I remember when we first got them, they were like he said, they were tremendous. And I think the fire department was getting them a little at a time through donations from people. Isn't that right?
Like Bullard and all those big ones.
Yeah, they would, all truck companies are going to start with rescue squads. But as far as, use of it on a fire floor, to me, it was always the officer had one. We didn't have more than one. I think there was SOC and the rescues and the squads had multiple ones, didn't they, Louis?
Yeah, we had two.
Okay, so, of course, we drilled on it. We knew how to use it. But as Jeff said, I'm hoping in the near future that the fire department transfers over to where they can have them in the mask, because I think it's a great tool, search device. And, it's not only for looking for victims. With the thermal imaging cameras, you could see the temperature, where the temperature is higher, to see where the heats and fires coming from. You can see flame in the smoke as you do in the smokehouse when we do that on the rock. They're great. You know, they're great things, and I'm hoping that they come to fruition to get this thing going.
I think
And
that the
get
technology on those is
it's
like
incredible.
from the original ones, they would white out, right? Like
Yeah.
you couldn't see anything. It was almost like, again, what the hell am I carrying this brick around for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And the
but
battery didn't last as long as they do now.
but
The
now I'm
batteries,
sure
they're
the
great.
technology in that thing is so much better. You know what I mean?
So, just to play devil's advocate now, you're getting all these things in the mask, you're getting buttons and bells and whistles. How much of that is taken away from your own senses of feeling the heat and doing your own thing? Like,
Well, I'm sure.
Kenny, isn't that the same as being fully encapsulated with years ago, guys would feel their ears burning and say, well, I'm going too far. Or, now they have hoods and they have all this stuff where it may take away some of your senses, but think about how much easier it is for you to just look in the corner of your mask and see, hey, it's 1100 degrees over there. You know? So why is this way?
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Generation will take that technology and they're going to run with it and they're going to be really good with it. They will.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Keith.
You awake?
My mother always said, if you got nothing nice to say about something, don't say anything at all. No, but they do have their place. Like if there's a missing fireman, I say, yeah, bring it in. The quicker you can find the guy. But a thermal imaging camera is never going to replace a 6-foot hook. And I see guys in YouTube videos that it looks clear here, but we opened up everything. We knew where to open up, and we knew where the fire was traveling. And now they're using these thermal imaging cameras, and I think there's a lot of rekindles going on in this country at fires.
Well, Keith, you're talking about a whole different thing. We're talking about with victim search, and I agree with you 100%. I'm with you. We've seen guys on my job using those for overhaul, and they don't see through blown insulation. And guys are like, oh, there's no fire there. Let's wrap it up. And they're coming back and they're burning down the rest of the neighborhood. But yeah, I think for search, they're a great tool. And like, I agree with you, Keith. They're not a tool for me to use for overhaul. There's a lot of people making critical mistakes, and like, use your judgment as a fireman, open the damn place up.
Yes.
100%.
Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy.
Another thing too is our buildings in Harlem, the tenements were small and compacted. We never had warehouses or stadiums or like things that we had to search like that. So we really had very little experience with the thermal imaging camera. The only thing, sometimes maybe if you go into a store and you smell it's a ballast. And then if you put it up,
you could see that. You could see it.
There it is.
That's great. Yeah, another great.
That's right. No, it did do that.
Don't trust it for overhaul. That's for sure.
I would say the thing that I think, and a lot of guys know this, that it doesn't substitute your search, like what we're talking about, habits, right? You can get jammed up if you go into a building and you start with the thermal camera in your hand and you're not following the wall and you're not taking landmarks and you're not doing what we've always done. Then people say what? The battery goes out or it whites out or something happens, and now you haven't relied on any of that stuff before, that you should have been doing. Like, you should be searching like you normally search, and then pick up the camera, take a look around, quick, scan the floor, put it down, search. That's how I did it. That's how I felt it was good for me. I think to Kenny's point, there's a lot of distraction. I mean, drive a car. I'm sure Keith is probably in the same boat as me. I just rented a car. I just rented a car. I don't even know how to turn the goddamn lights on. Like, I can't, there's so many buttons and so much crap. I can't figure out what's going on. Like, again, now I'm an older guy. My daughter will probably be in there and flip everything on 2 seconds, right? So, like Jeff was saying, the newer generations, they're going to adapt to, because that's all they're going to know is having it in the mask and doing all that stuff. But I think you got to stick to some basics, because if something goes wrong, you want to, who can you trust? I could trust me 100%. You know what I mean? That's I could trust me. If I do the work, You know, I'm confident I could get out of anywhere. I could do whatever. So I think that's the only thing with the use it. It just adds to your search. It shouldn't be a replacement for your search. You know,
It's a
so
tool for your search, and you got to rely on your basics and never let the basics go away when it comes to that. You have to.
Absolutely.
It's a great tool for an addition to something, and for us down here in South Florida, we're fortunate that every position has a tick. The smaller versions, and then the officers have the larger tick. So we're blessed as far as that goes, and we go incorporate it with looking for flow paths, kind of get a quick read on it as you're doing a quick search, entering into a building, kind of a thing. But always rely on your basics, just as you guys said. You lose power, whatever happens, so you don't get disoriented. Because we have seen guys rely on the tick, then they know where they are because now they've let the basics go.
All right.
Cool.
all right. Next question. This should be an interesting. I can't wait to hear these answers. I just threw this in here. I was like, I could already see this. Greg, you're going to be up first. What was your
Oh,
technique
great.
or go-to move if you found 1045? If you found somebody in the room.
Okay. The first thing I think is the most key is your acknowledgement of finding a 1045, and that way you can get resources to help you. Depending on fire conditions, you're looking. What is the easiest way of getting this victim out? So if you're in the front room, such as where I worked in Queens, we had a lot of railroad flats, and if you know railroad flats, a lot of times the front bedroom, the doorway that leads to the hallway is usually covered by furniture or something. So our SOP used to always be to go to the rear of the apartment, make your way in, get to the front of the apartment. If you were to find somebody, whether it be the first or second floor, depending on what the fire conditions are, is going to determine how you're going to extricate this person. If the fire is in the hallway, you're going to close the door and you're going to buy yourself time, and you're going to be able to have your resources come to the front window to help get this person out. If the fire is in, let's say, the rear where the kitchen would be, and you have access of getting the person to the hallway, whether it be the second, third floor, it's always going to be to your advantage with the resources you have to get these victims down the stairs. That would be the safest manner, instead of you trying to take them out on an aerial or try to get a bucket up. Maybe you won't be able to get a bucket up because of trees or wires or what have you in the front of the building. So I think that's important. Knowing where your fire is, knowing if they have control of the fire or not, and the type of building that you're in. But the first thing I think, like I said, is the acknowledgement to get your resources to you to help you. Because even a 150-pound woman at dead weight is not that easy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, especially if you broke your ass getting in there and you're half out of gas and you find this person, it's not going to be that easy to move them or lift them.
Yeah.
Keith, you're up.
Okay. Well, for the non-FDNY people that are listening here, 1045 that means you find a victim. There's code 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the worst. They're usually roasted. 2 is the middle, and 3 is you could probably walk them out. I learned right away that if you find a 1045 code 1 and it's a roast, you're supposed to leave them where they are, because there's got to be an investigation into it. And a few times we moved 1045 code 1, obviously roasted, and then they found out that that person was shot before the fire was started. So now it was a murder investigation instead of a fire. And the department is the FDNY is hot on the timeline. So they got a report of a phone alarm for a fire, acknowledgement in the house watch, 1084, 1075, and then between the 1075 and the 1045, you want to make that the shortest time ever, because that means you did a good quick search. You get into an all hands fire, and 25 minutes later they give a 1045 1. That's not good. But how to get the people that you drag them, and like Greg said, when somebody's wet, they could be 90 pounds. I was in a project fire with Willie Maria. Willie Maria was Dolph Lundgren with black hair. He was a huge, strong guy. Me and Willie Maria couldn't get. We had an older woman, nude, behind the bed, We could not grab her because she was wet from the hose line. It was like trying to grab silly putty. We couldn't.
Noodles.
90 pounds. And we had a hard time. We were exhausted by the time we got her up on top of the bed and out of the room. So
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Jeff?
Yeah, same damn thing, man. I just my first few years in the fire service, incredible. Month of January, I think in '83, I was like 19 years old. I did 12 fatal fires, and I'm like, my God, what the hell am I doing wrong here? So, yeah, you're bringing these people out. You're doing CPR on kids. You know, it was back when we did mouth to mouth. You know, the skin sticking to your lips. You guys have been around. You know how that is. That taste, that smell, never leaves you. But yeah, just to reiterate, that 115-pound person laying in that room, that's a physical beatdown. It's you're wrestling a wet noodle. This is not the fire academy. This is not fire school pulling out a rescue dummy or a hose dummy. That person is just, it's like Play-Doh trying to get that person out of that room. So, you know, we talk about physical fitness. If you're not going to work every day, if you're not working out in the firehouse, if you're not going to the gym on your days off, you're doing it. It's a physical beatdown. The strongest guy is still going to wrestle with that. So yeah. Talked a little bit about, Greg, you talked about notification on the radio about finding the victim. Make that transmission short and sweet. When you go to these fire schools and these fire instructors are telling you, like, hey, this is engine 1, Ryder Nozzleman. I found a victim in sector 3 on the second division. Shut the fuck up. Say, I got a victim on the second floor. I need help. Because that person does not have the time to dick around with your 6-hour radio transmission.
Yeah, right.
Call for help. Hey, man, I got a victim here. I'm on the second floor. I need help. And start working to get that victim out. Fire instructors, God bless them, they mean well, but a lot of these guys don't have real world experience. So make that notification and get that time is ticking. That bell is just bang, bang, bang. We have to get that freaking person out of that environment. So make that transmission short and sweet and just start doing your best to get, stay away from gadgets. There's a lot of different things with victim removal. Early on in my career,
Keep it simple, man.
Maybe a couple of years, I'm laying on the engine room floor. The whole fire department's there, and they're doing this thing with webbing. It was called Circle the Wagon, I think it was
Circle
called.
jerk. That's what it's called.
Yeah, so they're laying. I'm laying there, my gear on, and they're laying webbing out. And this is how to get it down. And 6 minutes later, they're dicking around with this webbing.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
And I'm a
Fuck that.
2-year guy, and I'm keeping my mouth shut, but I'm ready to explode. So afterwards, and everybody leaves, and I told my crew, and like I said, I'm a new guy. I'm like, if you motherfuckers ever dick around with that and I die, I'm going to come back. Like, yeah, there's a lot of
that shit.
Yes, get me out of that building. Throw me out the second floor window. I don't give a rat's ass what you got to do. Get me out of there. So watch out for gadgets.
Yeah, a lot of gadgets, man.
Yes, and different.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. That being said, I'm going to put a plug out there. Philadelphia Fire Department's doing some really cool stuff. I think it's Anderson Rescue Solutions, guys. I think that's making a rescue strap that seems, after all these years, somebody has come up with something that's quick, easy, that you don't got to dick around a lot. So, but yeah, try to keep your rescue solutions easy. Don't overcomplicate. Jesus, that's good English.
Complicate. Don't overcomplicate it.
Have another beer.
Yeah, there we go. Have another
we
beer.
go.
Soul. So yeah, just try to make it easy. But yeah, some of this bullshit they're teaching in these fire schools is, yeah, these guys have never been in a burning building, have no clue what it is to drag a person out. So I remember coming out and, you know, pulling people out, and like you guys are saying, you're in your gloves, their skin is coming off in your hands, and it is a miserable feeling. I remember coming back to the firehouse and their skin stuck to your coat. My coat, you know, $80 suppression gloves right in the trash can. I wasn't going to wash them damn things, but yeah, keep it simple. Keep your radio transmissions down to a minimum and get that freaking person out. To a little bit of a branch off, a little bit, making it a little bit more complex. If you're on a tower ladder and you're on the second, third deck or whatever you're at, and you're making a grab and you're going to go for that window and you have a tower ladder out front, for you tower ladder guys, the window sills down here. Don't try to align that tower ladder up to where the door where you're going to swing it open. You're dicking around too much. We found that if you just take that tower ladder up to that top rail and in the top rail of your tower ladder with the top rail or the top of the windowsill, and that guy can try to get that person out over and just drop him into that bucket. The tower ladder operator will try to, you know, you're going to protect that person and you know, prevent any further injuries. But it's another tool, you know, to try to make things simple. I've seen some guys dicking around with a tower ladder trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to get the door, like just drop them down in. But I don't know, other than a couple simple webbing solutions to try to get a person out. A bed sheet.
I was just going to say that, Jeff. That would be my go-to, especially if they're burned up. Like if they're on the bed already or on the floor, just pull a sheet. I've seen that quite a bit. That always seems, because you can get multiple hands on it, right?
Oh,
and it definitely works better.
And we learned our lessons from doing EMS runs with EMS with obese people. You know, we would just wrap them in that bed sheet. It works. Same thing for a victim in a fire room. Like, my God, if that person you were found on the bed, use that damn. Don't pull them off.
The sheet is the best.
Grab that sheet. That makes things so easy. So
it does make it easier.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's really all I have.
So
on that.
I gotta tell you a quick story. The one, I think I said it once before. I don't know if Gonzo remembers. So I was in 103. I was an officer in 103. It's like 3:00 in the morning. We get up to the projects and report a fire. We know we got a job. So the guys pop the door. I'm like the first guy in. I put my mask on. I'm the first guy in, going down the hall, and I'm like, which way am I going to go, left or right? You know. So I'm like, I'll go left, and I go left, and I'm not even left, like, I don't even know, 5 feet, and I hear the guy who went right say, Lou, I got 1045. I'm like, holy shit. It was kind of like good and bad.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, shit. You know, like it's always 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So we get over there. He's in the kitchen, and we get over there, and he's a big dude, you know. So I could see him in the smoke. I have my flashlight. I could see the guy. He's probably like 300 pounds, this guy. So I look over at my guy, Kevin Mundinger. He's like, you ready? I grabbed the leg. He grabs the leg, right? And I'm like, you ready? All right, let's go. And we start to pull, and he ain't going nowhere. He's like, he's nailed to the floor, right? I mean, like nailed to the floor. So I'm like, yanking on him. And I look through the smoke. This guy, he was a middle linebacker, this guy, Kevin. He's tugging on this guy's leg like you can't even imagine. Like, and the guy's not moving. He's not even budging. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I crawl up the guy's legs. We're in the kitchen, and there's a table, like an island that's coming off of the wall, and there's a brass pole, like going down to the floor, holding up this thing. And this guy's got one leg on one side of the pole and one leg on the other side of the pole. So you can imagine.
I remember you did.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
you
like,
fucked up his balls.
I'm like, holy shit, right? So finally, I look over at him. He's still tugging on this guy's leg. I'm like, bro, he's stuck on the pole. So we had to push the guy off the pole, and next thing you know, you ready? I grabbed his leg. He grabbed his leg. We're out in the hallway, in like 10 seconds, like at the elevator. I give the report. We got 10:45, and I'm like, I got my mask on. I'm like pulling my mask off. I'm like, like that. And I look down. I look down at this dude. My first, I mean, nominee patri, the spirit, the santi. I'm like, hey, brother, if you make it, I'm like really sorry, man, because his balls was going to be up in his throat. Like,
Oh man.
the next day we found out he didn't make it, but it was like, I mean, it was definitely a delayed. You know, we were there for a little bit tugging on this guy, but you never know what the hell's going to happen. Like, it's crazy.
Trying to pull him
shit,
out
man.
too.
I mean, even if you think about the amount of obese people in America,
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, I'm not one of these training guys, but I have a lot of friends that have their training company. That's the thing nowadays, I guess. And I usually don't ask a lot of questions these days. Like, did you guys ever think about coming up with a training event just for getting obese people out of burning buildings? What do you do? Think about
It
it.
ain't easy. It ain't gonna be easy. It ain't gonna be easy.
150, 600, 400, 500. How are we getting these people out?
I don't
And a
know.
fire? They ain't getting out.
Yeah, it ain't getting
No.
on fire. Yeah,
No,
it's
they're not getting out.
Kenny,
yeah.
how are we getting Schneider out of a building if we went down?
We're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs to the meatloaf.
Well, we were gonna cut him into 250-pound pieces and then bring him outside and glue him back together again. The guy was fucking 500 pounds with his gear
Leave
on.
him a note. Tell him there's a ham sandwich outside.
You know, I never liked finding a 1045 at a fire. It was for the majority of jobs we go to, the ratio is very low that you make a rescue. You may make a removal a lot of times, you know, it's done every day, but I never really liked finding somebody, you know, it was good that we found them, but I never really liked that. That sort of put a damper on a job for me when we found the 1045.
Yeah. I got you. Well, again, making fun of this guy. I mean, it's just what we do. I mean, when you're dealing with it all the time, I mean, you have no choice but to make fun of it, I guess.
What did Greg say before about the window? I mean, the door, when you pop the apartment door in, right, it closed off a room. We missed a woman. I was in the truck maybe about a month. We missed a woman in the room. And we got a visit from a battalion chief every day tour. No, a deputy and a battalion during the day. And they supervised the drill and a battalion at night for about a month because we missed that woman in the fucking off room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Patty.
All right, last question.
Last question. We have like a
Keith
fucking...
is up first. What was your go-to drill on search, either in the firehouse or in your area?
In the firehouse, we used to take the guys up to the bunk room, and we used to what's the word I'm looking for? We used to position the beds,
rearrange
like a
rearrange
maze.
the beds in certain ways, and have them go and search.
Nice.
And thanks to my daughter, we had a couple of lifelike dolls, like teenage size and smaller mannequin dolls that we'd put around. We put them on one of the beds and under a bed, and we'd have the guy go in with a blacked out face piece with all his gear and his tools, and that's how we would search in the firehouse. That would be our drill. In the bunk room on the second floor.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It was a good drill. That was a good drill. Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah, we used to do the same thing in the bunk room with the blacked out face piece. Sometimes we do it down in the basement where it's a little more challenging with the poles and all the stock that you have down the basement with file cabinets and old desks and things. And we would simulate, down Firefighter, have someone go and rescue them in the dark. Sometimes you light a little barrel on fire, get some heat going and some smoke going down there. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
We did it.
We did it. Yeah, we did it. And always had a charge line at the top of the stairs just in case. No, but we would do that and get you a little customized, get you a little custom to taking in a feed, especially a new guy, and getting the feel of what search is like, getting him hung up on something so he can practice his reduced profile and different maneuvers with his mask to try to get out of a certain situation. And then when we were out on BI or out on the road, we would always take notice of things that we would go over as far as if you had this position, if you had that position. You pull up and you see a 3-story multiple dwelling, and you ask the young guy, what do you see here that would tip you off before you started your search and your size up of showing up to this building? And it may be something simple like 6 mailboxes. The 6 mailboxes are going to tell you there's 3 stories. They did some type of renovation, or they split it up where you have front and rear apartments. That's going to change your whole game, your whole way about how to attack this fire or what you're going to do in this building as far as search. The amount of gas meters on the side of the house would also be an indication of how many people or families would live there, and that would not have hands-on searching, but it would give you an idea of what you would be up against instead of just running past that and not knowing and getting into an apartment and feeling some heat and not finding a fire because it was divided front to rear. And then the roof guy would go up on the roof with him and see if you had like a gooseneck from the top to the fire escape in the rear, and you would let the boss know, because that will also tell you front, rear fire escapes, you have separated occupancies. So those are the things that we did in the firehouse and out on the road to try to help the guys manage their search abilities.
Nice.
Very good. Jeff?
Well, just prior to you calling me, Lou, about coming on the show, it was kind of a little bit of a coincidence that I just completed a search training at my volunteer house. So this is pretty fresh in my mind. And we set up the same thing what you guys do in our little bunk room. We had some live victims, and then I had a little lifelike baby doll. Put it on the couch and threw a blanket on it. I had 6 or 7 evolutions come through there with 2-man search teams. Not a single search team found that child. So when we critique the search afterwards, you don't want to beat people up. And I'm like, well, Harrisburg not too long ago had a triple fatal fire. And I believe at least one of the kids had buried themselves in blankets. And after multiple searches, the guys failed to find that child. And those firemen beat themselves up mentally over that. And is it going to happen? Absolutely. Like I said, we just did 7 evolutions in a training and nobody found him. And my guys had recently did some searches on a live fire and never found a kid. And that really messed with a lot of people. I don't know what the answer is, because we're told about the primary search is a quick, down and dirty, fast search. I don't know. Maybe we need to rethink about maybe slowing down sometimes with that search, because that's what we've been told, right? From day one in the academy, right?
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah. But it's always been like, the primary search is a quick, but maybe we need to slow down a little bit. And I'm not going to put blame on anybody because it's happened to all of us. I'm sure it's happened to every single one of us here that we've missed people. And it's a horrible reality of being a fireman. And you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And we all carry those skeletons. So, But isn't that something you just called about doing this?
Yeah, it was crazy when you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, I had just done that. And so, it's just maybe taking your time a little bit more, and fire conditions are really going to dictate that too. If you're doing a search and your ears aren't burning, your shoulders aren't burning, and maybe it's time to slow that down a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between doing a primary search and you're like, oh shit, I got seconds, and then maybe, think about, okay, I'm not on fire. The engine company's doing their job.
Not on fire.
I can slow.
I could give this a little extra time. Yeah.
And take a little bit more time and make it more thorough, because we get kind of muddled with that primary search and then the secondary search. If you think about it, the secondary search, at least what I've witnessed over the years, is we're finding dead bodies. Is that sound legit to you guys or not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, think about it. But yeah,
I would say, I'm just thinking now, like you guys were all, I used to like to do the search because everybody knew the bunk room, everybody knew the basement.
yeah.
So I would try and get them out, to search something else. There wasn't too many vacants anymore, as time was going on. So like I was saying before, like if they had an old building, they were gonna knock it down. You would see the plywood up in the city anyway, that they were gonna knock down that building. So I would get a hold of the guy, and most of the time, even with insurance, that they had to deal with, I would be able to get my guys in there. And the first thing I would do before we started tearing it up and practiced overhaul and cutting and all that shit, I would practice search, right? And the same thing with if they were building a building and it was just the shell and they were, they had the studs up, even if they didn't have sheetrock, I would still ask the guy and I would get in there a lot of more times than you would think. And I would have guys search, right? We just had a leg. It was like a leg of a teenager. So I used to it was like from the kneecap down, and I just used to throw the foot somewhere. And a lot of times this was my go-to move, especially if I got a new guy in the truck and then I carried that over to the squad, was the new guy would go in and he would go in with somebody. Like this was a perfect drill for somebody, like even in your firehouse now. He would go in with somebody who knew what I was going to do. And what I was going to do was what I preach all the time. Who can you trust? I could trust me 100%. When can I trust somebody else? When I don't trust me 100%. Whereas I'm lost, or I got off the wall, or I don't have a way out, right? The way I had out was this fire behind me. So what I would let these guys do was I would let them go around in this building, and when they would find a window, I would yell out, "All right, what do you got there?" I got, and it was always on air. If you're searching, you're on air. This whole idea of searching without air is like ridiculous, right? The scuba idea is, you feel closed in as it is. It's tough to breathe, all that stuff. So they'd say, "I got a window here." I said, "All right, keep going." I would let them get whatever, as far away from there as possible. And then I always did this. I would say, "All right, it's lighting up. 10, 9." And now I would watch them go into this little bit of a like panic,
Frenzy.
not panic, but they weren't expecting this. And I would have the other guy in the room say, "Over here, ahead of them, over here, right? We all know what's happening next, right? Over here." Now, this guy just passed a window 10, 15, 10 feet. But now that I'm counting down and there's this anxiety of, holy shit, I got to get out. And somebody in front of him who was searching with him says, "Over here. And he goes over there. And what do you think the guy says to him? "I'm
I
lost.
can't.
I don't know how to get out." And now I'm already up to 3, 2, 1. Take your mask off. And I could see it in his face. And I would be like, "Bro, what am I telling you? What did you just pass? I don't care if you pass that window and you're 10 feet, 15 feet, whatever it is, and now it starts lighting up and there's a guy in front of you, you tell him, 'You know what? I'll see you outside, brother. You want to come with me? I'm not going over there because I don't know what you got. I know what I got, 100%. So unless you're jammed up and you don't know what you have 100%, or if you don't have a window, or if you don't have anything and you got to trust the guy then, obviously. But so that was always my drills. I felt like it got ingrained in them. And like I said, if I find a window on the floor above, I'm much more comfortable. I could do a search much more comfortable than if I don't have any way out other than the way I came in, for the same reason you just said, Jeff. Like, how many times did you have to go out another way? And if you don't have another way, like lined up, right, it could get a little sketchy. So I think that search drill that I put into those guys, I felt like they were really getting something from it every time. It wasn't just running around trying to find, a mannequin type of thing. It was more about them first. Not that they're only worried about them. They're worried about the people and they're searching, but you can be much more comfortable and you got to be 100% that you know what the hell, where you're going and what you're doing when you can't see and feel anything. So that's all I got.
Excellent.
Nice.
Hey, Lou,
Yeah, man.
one of the times that I bugged out on this computer here, did we go over first due and second due search? Did we do that?
We didn't have that as a question, but what do you want? What do you, as
You
far
did.
as
One of your questions was inside team first due at the door and full or above. Well, anyway, there's two different searches. If you're first due and you're in a fire apartment, you pop the door. What we used to do is pop the door and then turn on our Scots. Now, the door is open, the Scots are on, you're putting your face piece on if you had to, but you're giving that whatever's in there a chance to blow or to give you a little bit of a distance from the floor up to see if you can see anything. Then the can man would go right to where the fire was. The officer in the irons would split up and do the search and then work back towards the apartment, the apartment door. Second due, the search starts from the door. As soon as you pop that door in the apartment, that's where the search starts. And a lot of times we didn't have to take windows. We could open them. You know, it was a pretty bad smoke condition, but you didn't want to take glass if you didn't have to. But if it was bad enough, we did. And that was it. Those are the two types of the way you do it. First due goes to the fire, work back. Second due on the floor above, search starts at the door.
I smash everything.
Yeah, we like to do that.
It was getting smashed.
Them wrecking sticks.
That's it. Big tool, big power, right?
Yeah.
What did you say, Keith, on the show with me? You said
complete destruction in every position is the key. God damn it.
One of my favorite lines ever. That's it. Break everything.
I thought you were going to make a T-shirt out of that. I was waiting for the royalties.
Yeah. What do you get for that? 20%?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm on a fixed income. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a fixed income, but he's got a vacation home in Jersey, so he's not hurting.
He knows how to do it. He knows
he's frozen now. Now he's frozen.
Is he frozen?
He's frozen.
Oh boy.
He's in disbelief. He's in disbelief.
Are you there?
He's trying to bust his balls and he's frozen.
Hello.
You still got him?
Now he'll come back, and I'll
tell you
be
right
back.
now. He knows how to get back quick, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. He's gone. He's gone.
What do we got, Guns? We got another commercial?
We have two that we're going to run really quick. And
run quick.
The first one is Collectors Club, who is sponsoring all of our great tips and information that we shared with you guys tonight. So here we go.
We at the Gettin' Salty Experience are excited to announce the launch of the New York City Collectors Club, a brand new spin-off of the FD Collectors Club dedicated exclusively to New York City firehouses. Here's the deal. No more worrying about stopping by a firehouse when the crew's out on a run, and no more rolling the dice on questionable patches and coins off eBay. With this club, everything you receive is 100% authentic, straight from New York City firehouses. And the best part? A portion of every subscription goes directly to firefighter charities each month. Now, because you're a part of the Gettin' Salty podcast community, you'll get 50% off your first month. That means you can join for just $14.99. All you have to do is use the code Gettin' Salty at checkout. So if you're a collector looking for something real, meaningful, and straight from the source while giving back to New York City's best and bravest, the New York City Collectors Club is for you.
Very good.
Oh, there he is.
Very nice.
What did I miss? You guys are still there?
Commercial.
We got a commercial. We got one more.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Here we go. One more. We got one more from Mr. FRC.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
No, I can't.
All right, good. We got a little health and safety tip down here from South Florida, a little bit what we call a shower within the hour. my friends. After a
Shower
job.
within the hour.
Oh, shower within the hour when if you're after a job, man. Get that shit off of you, man.
Is that like
Unfortunately,
hitting it hard from the yard?
yeah, kind of like that.
That's good, Keith.
Listen, they got to rhyme stuff, Keith. You know.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
You know how it goes.
But that's how it was.
Lou, do we got time for bullshit stories yet?
You want to throw one out there? We got a couple minutes.
All right, we got a couple minutes. All right. I guess it's kind of a search story. After the training I had the other night, I was telling you about doing search ops. I sat the guys down and told them a story I had. Sunday afternoon, beautiful blue sky day. I was working the Hill, Allison Hill District, went to Midtown, Uptown for a reported fire. So we go rolling into the block. This block had been heavily decimated during the 70s and 80s. There was like only one house that was left. It was a 3-story standalone row, but everything around it had burned down. So I go running off. I don't even remember what rig I was on. So I go running down the road and I look up, like there's people out the second floor window. I'm like, oh shit. All right. So I grab a 14 off the tower ladder, throw it to the window. I'm yelling at the people, don't jump. Please don't jump. So bang the ladder, crawl up the ladder. I look in the window. One of the guys, his name's Ron Gallatin. He's just getting ready to retire. He's a senior man right now. He's got a male and a female in the bedroom. There's no bedroom door, so he can't isolate the room. And there's a ball of fire behind him. And I'm looking at Ron, and his eyes are as big as saucers. And I'm like, okay, let's get it. The female's ready to go out the window first. So I'm like, all right, ma'am, I need you to come out this window. And my head's only about a foot above the sill. And I'm not masked up quite obviously, but I can feel the heat on my fence or my face. And I'm like, I can't believe these people are sitting in this heat. And they're like nonchalantly like, okay, yeah, they're just sticking around. I'm like, ma'am, you need to come out of this window. Like,
ma'am.
He goes, I don't have pants on. She's has a t-shirt on and she's naked from the waist down. So I'm like, okay,
hey,
I can do with this. She's like 70 some years old. Or so I'm like, damn, fuck out of this. Now I'm getting concerned. I'm like, lady, you need to get out of this window, like right now. And she comes out. She's trying to get out the window. If you guys ever looked at the TV cable lines that go into houses, you know how they put that expansion loop?
Yes.
Have you ever noticed that? She's coming out, and I'll be damned, her foot gets stuck in this expansion loop. So she's got 1 foot on the ladder and 1 foot in the expansion loop, and her big hairy beaver is bouncing in my face. Now this is
You must be out your goddamn mind.
This is a Sunday afternoon, and there's literally 100 people standing outside. I'm like, please don't take pictures. So now I'm trying to wrestle this woman's leg out of this expansion loop, and every time I grab her leg, her hairy bush is bouncing.
Did you pick anything out of your teeth after that? You were like, oh my God.
Yummy.
So I finally get her leg off of the expansion loop, down on the ladder, get her turned around, and she's going, I'm sorry. And I'm like, at this point in time, I don't really care. I'm trying to get you out of this freaking place because they're moments away from burning to death. So
Did you get her number?
On the ladder.
I was going to say, Jeff, don't lie. This is you right now.
So, you can't make this shit up. So I boogie back up the ladder, and the first thing that now the husband's there, and I'm like, this motherfucker better have pants on.
He'd be long dipping.
So, thank God he had pants on, and we were able to get him out. But a little quick story about doing search and
I
making
love it.
grabs and all that fun shit. But I figured you'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Listen,
Yeah, thank
what's
God
what's
nobody was
better?
taking pictures that day.
What's better than ending the show with a little beaver stuff? You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Nice beaver.
Top that teeth.
Big summer blowout.
Yeah.
You got me on that one, Skull.
You got me on that one. All right, boys. Thank you very much. Hopefully, these guys out there got a couple of tips. Maybe they'll use some of our stuff for their drills and stuff like that. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe not.
Very informative.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was reading. I don't know what Patty Lee was saying. Be professional. I don't know what he was talking about. You know, the hairbag story. I don't know. Maybe.
Good meeting you, Greg.
Nice to meet you guys too.
Great career, man.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate everything. Thanks for having me on, guys. Keith, we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Don't hang up.
I'm going to start it.
Yeah, don't
I
hang up,
think
guys.
I think Keith's frozen again.
No.
We'll
he must be. We're
see
going to
you
sign
at the
off.
big one, everybody. Wrap it up.
All right, guys. Remember, I don't always watch podcasts, but when I do, I prefer the Getting Salty experience. Stay salty, my friends. Have it at it, Delaney. Let's go.
Oh, if you heard it, it must be true.
It must be
If you
true.
heard
You heard it on
at
the
if you heard it at the
I
kitchen
love it.
table on the Getting Salty podcast.
All right, guys.
All right,
Have a good night.
Coobs.
Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys
Go.
later.
Bunch of nuts.